Hello everyone, welcome to Voxer. In this video, we're gonna discuss reading passage 3 of test 3 taken from academic book 18. We have already discussed passage 1 and passage 2 of this particular test. So if you haven't watched those videos, you should, but after watching this one. For this video, I need your undivided attention so that I can make you understand how to solve such kind of passages. Without further ado, let's dive right in. So if you have watched my previous videos, you should know how we begin by reading the title of the passage. The title says the case for mixed ability classes. So let me mark it. So from the title, it's quite clear that this passage should revolve around mixed ability classes. That means those classes in which students that have different abilities are put together in one class. Like some may be toppers, some are like weak students, some may be mediocre, things like that. So it in the passage it may be given the benefits of such kind of classes, the problems with such kind of classes, or who advocate these kind of classes, or who are against these kind of classes. So maybe the information is something entirely else, but we get the idea what kind of things we can expect to read in this particular kind of paragraph. So let's see, the total number of questions are from 27 to 40, and the questions are on the right hand side. We will not read the paragraph just yet. We will look at the questions, make a strategy, then start reading the paragraph. Questions 27 to 30. So this is our first set of questions. We have to choose the correct letter A, B, C, D. So this is so these questions are MCQs. Okay, and 31 to 35. So this means this is our second set because we have 40 questions, or 40th question. So complete the summary using the list of phrases AI below. So you have to fill in the blanks, but you have to use the summary AI below. So from the words given in the box, you have to write the alphabet. Be very careful. You have to write the alphabet. Do not write the word. For example, for let's say for question 31, answer is A. So in the like on the answer sheet, you have to write wrong. You have to write A option. Do not write wrong classes. So for example, for 31, if the answer is A, and if you write wrong classes on your answer sheet, though A option is correct, your answer will be marked as incorrect. Why? Because you have to write the letter, not the words. So be very careful about that. And 36 to 40, this is our third set, and it is yes, no, not given. So you have to write yes, no, not given in front of these boxes. I hope it is clear. So now we will make a strategy. For MCQs, what you can do is you can read the questions. Sometime in the questions you are given the number of paragraph in which you will find the answer, or you may find some particular locator words, some proper nouns or things like that. So which you can, or dates which you can use to find out the location. Okay, let's see. Describe, the writer describes Romeo and Juliet lesson. So wherever there will be the mention of a lesson named Romeo and Juliet, we will have location in that paragraph. What does the writer say in the third paragraph? Okay, so these questions are almost always in order. So what I mean by this is that you will likely to find 27 before 28, 28 before 29, 29 before 30. So that means if 28th is in third paragraph, so 27th should be in first, second or third paragraph at most. Clear? And let's see 29th. What does the writer suggest reference of Mount Comolagma in the fifth paragraph? So this is in the fifth paragraph, and what does that? And it is in the sixth paragraph. So third, fifth, sixth, and this should be in the first, second or third paragraph. Is streaming effective? So wherever you will have this particular information, they will talk about whether we should stream or whatever the word is, then we will find this location. We will try to read this particular blanks. And this the Vygotsky model of education sports concepts of mixed. So wherever you will find this particular word, and I don't think so they will paraphrase this seems to be the name of some kind of, sorry about that, this seems to be the name of some kind of model of education. So wherever we will find this particular name, we will read this particular question. So now what we know is we should get this question in the first, second, or third paragraph at most. So let's read the question and then we will read the paragraph. The writer describes Romeo and Juliet lesson in order to demonstrate. So demonstrate. Okay, let me change the color. So demonstrate means sorry about that. Show. So the writer is describing these lessons in order to show something. Let's see what he wants to show us. How few students are interested in literature. So he wants to show the number of students, like they are very few. There are very few students that are interested in literature. How a teacher handles a range of learning needs. So from Romeo and Juliet, the writer wants to show that how a teacher, he or she handles range of learning needs. Like some students might learn at a quicker pace, some student needs more time to understand and adapt, something like that. And how a teacher handles everything. How unsuitable Shakespeare is for most teenagers, or the unsuitability of Shakespeare for most teenagers. And D, sorry about that, how weaker students can disrupt their classmates learning, or the writer wants to demonstrate that weaker students can disrupt other students learning process. If that's the case, D will be our answer. So let's start reading. Now we should remember, we will read this particular paragraph and see whether the information is here or not for 27th, or is streaming effective here is given or not, or this particular word. I hope it is clear. So for every question, to solve every question after finding the location, I will give you around 10 seconds to tell me the answer. And if you need more time than that, you can pause the video and continue when you're ready with your answer. So let's start reading. Picture this scene. It's an English literature lesson in a UK school, and the teacher has just read an extract from Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet with a class of 15-year-olds. So now we have found the location, Romeo and Juliet. So a teacher is reading this particular thing. So that means this is the lesson they want to us to understand. He has given some of the student copies of No Fear Shakespeare, a kid-friendly translation of the original. And the teacher, what he is doing, that he is on the one hand reading the extract from Romeo and Juliet, and simultaneously he has given some of the copies students, like he has given some of the student copies of No Fear Shakespeare, and it is the same story but it's a kid friendly translation. Like the words are used are much simpler, words that are used are much simpler to understand or in day to day conversation. For three students, even these literacy demands are beyond them. But even these simple words, they are, for three students, they are still complicated. Another girl simply can't focus, and he gives her, I think there should be, it should be she, and she gives her pens and paper to draw. Okay, sorry about that. And he gives her pens and paper to draw with. So another girl, there is one more girl that cannot focus, and he here refers to teachers, sorry about that. He gives her pens and paper to draw with. The teacher can ask No Fear group to identify the key characters and maybe provide a tentative plot summary. So what the teacher is asking, he is asking those students he gave the copy of No Fear Shakespeare, something like that, No Fear Shakespeare, that particular group, he wanted them to identify key characters and maybe provide a tentative plot summary. Like he wanted to ask them, what do you think the plot summary is, which are the key characters, something like that. He can ask most of the class about character development, and five of them might be able to support their statements with textual evidence. Now two curious students are wondering whether Shakespeare advocates living a life of moderation or one of passionate engagement. So what the teacher is trying to evoke is, he is trying to evoke arguments, discussion among the class. He is asking the class to to tell about the story, to tell about the summary or the key characters. And and two of those students in the class, they are now wondering whether Shakespeare, he is advocating living the life of moderation or one of passionate engagement. I hope it is clear. Now, yeah, we have understood what the writer wants to describe in this particular lesson, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up. Let's read the options together. First, I will tell you which is the correct option, and then we will see the location and why others options are not correct. And the correct option is A, B, C, or D. Yes, B. How a teacher handles a range of learning needs. Where it is written here, he has given some of the student copies of this. Clear. And for three students, if these are beyond them, another girl, he has given pen and paper to draw. So he is like giving different students different thing. So he is reading this. So from here to here, we can easily say he is trying to handle different students' needs simultaneously. Like according to their level, he is assigning them tasks. He is giving them different kind of things to understand these kind of things. I hope it is clear, and let's see why other options are not our answer. So there is no mention of the number of students. So there is no mention that only 5 students were interested in literature. Yeah, there is no mention the number of students, like 3 students, like 2 students here. Here is the mention of one girl for 3 students, but these are not showing that how many students were interested in literature or not. Unsuitable for most teenagers, there is no mention about the suitability and unsuitability of Shakespeare's novel, so C cannot be our answer. Weaker students can disrupt, there is no mention of disruption. So the writer is just trying to demonstrate how a single teacher is handling a class with different like class containing different ability students, hence mixed ability classes. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read these questions? Is there any mention of streaming is effective or effective streaming, something like that? Or let's read the information first. According to Professor John Hattie of Melbourne Education, so is there any mention of Professor John Hattie either? No, there is no mention of that, so we do not need to worry about this. Is there any mention about Vygotsky model of education? There is no mention of this, otherwise we would have identified this word. So now what we're going to do is we're going to read the 28th question, and that is in the third paragraph. So we will read the second paragraph and we will see whether we find any of these questions there or not. As a teacher myself, I'd think my lesson would be going rather well if the discussion went as described above. So this particular writer is saying that if he is a teacher himself and he will think if the lesson like mentioned above, then the discussion is going rather well. But wouldn't this kind of class work better if there weren't such a huge gap between the top and the bottom? But this is the question that automatically comes in mind, like, well, if there was not such a huge gap in understanding of students, like if the students at similar level of understanding formed a particular class, wouldn't that be better if we put all the kids who needed literacy support into one class and all the students who want to discuss the virtue of moderation into another? So isn't that a more effective way to teach students? So that's the question that's come like in the mind of the writer. Is there any mention of Professor John Hattie? No, there is no mention of that. There is no mention of this. So we don't have any answer in paragraph 2 because we know the 28th is in paragraph 3, so we don't have to worry about that. So this is our third paragraph. Now we will read the 28th question. What does the writer say about streaming in the third paragraph? Let's see. It has a very broad appeal. So if the streaming, so here is something about streaming. If it has a very broad appeal, A will be our answer. It favors cleverer students. So if it is in the favor of clever students, B will be our answer. It is relatively simple to implement. If its implementation is simple, C will be our answer. It works better in some schools than others. If its working is better in some schools than other, if some comparison is given between different kinds of school, in what kind of school it is better and in what kind of schools it is not better, then D will be our answer. So let's read the third paragraph. The practice of streaming or tracking involves separating students into classes depending on their diagnosed levels of attainment. So now we're talking about the practice of streaming or tracking, what it involves. So what it means, basically it means separating students into classes depending on their levels of attainment, like level of intelligence. We are separating the students at a macro level. It requires the establishment of academically selective schools for the brightest students and comprehensive schools for the rest. So if we are talking about a macro level, so academically selective schools for the brightest students, like brightest students are put in one school and the rest are put in different schools. Within schools, it means selecting students into a stream of general ability or sets of subject ability classes. And now, if we're talking about at school level, so within school, it means you have to select students according to their general ability or subject specific ability. Maybe some students, even the brightest students, will have some kind of favoritism. Some students will be brilliant in mathematics, some may be brilliant in science or other subjects. So we have to do that as well. The practice is intuitively appealing to almost every stakeholder. So this particular practice, it is appealing to every stakeholder. So even the parents will think that this practice is good for their children. Why? Because they will be able to understand better. So if they are in the same level of class with other students, they will not feel inferior to, like if there are more intelligent students in class than you may feel inferior to them, because you might need more time to understand a particular question, or you may need teacher to explain it like 2 or 3 times for you to understand that particular question. So you may not feel inferiority in these kind of classes. I hope it is clear. Now you know the drill. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and I'm gonna mark the answer first, then I will tell you why that's the answer and why others are not. And the answer to this particular question is yes, A. It has a very broad appeal, and where it is written in the last sentence itself, the practice is intuitively appealing to almost every stakeholder. So the appeal is quite broad. A lot of people might find it appealing. That's question 28. I hope it is clear. Let's see if the others option cannot be our answer. B. It favors cleverer students. There is no mention like that. So it favors all the students because we are putting different students in different schools according to their ability level. So clever students will have different classes, while not so clever students will be put in different classes. So it will be like win-win situation for both, I guess. C option, it is relatively simple to implement. There is no mention that it is easy to implement or it is difficult to implement. There is only mention how it can be implemented or how to implement it. But whether it is easy or difficult, there is no mention about that. D, it works better in some, again, it is not mentioned that only some schools will be or some schools will benefit from it, others will be others will face difficulty, something like that. There is no mention about these kind of things, so D cannot be our answer. So our logical answer that we can deduce from this particular paragraph is A option. I hope it is clear. Now let's see, there is a mention of streaming. Is there any mention of Professor John Hattie? No, there is no mention of this particular person's name, so we do not have to worry about that. And other than that, there is no mention that whether it is effective or not. That's why this option was not selected. Like implementation is effective, easier or not, something like that. Clear? Now we know it's in the fifth paragraph. So this is our fourth paragraph, so we don't have to worry about that. And let's see if we have any answer here or not. I have heard the mixed ability model attacked by a way of analogy, a group hike. So let me change the color. So they're saying that they have heard about this particular model by way of analogy like a group hike. So they are comparing mixed ability model to a group hike. The fittest in the group take the lead and set a brisk pace. So whoever is the fittest in the group, obviously they will be they will take the lead and they will set at a brisk pace. So their speed will be faster than those who are not fit or who are unfit, you can say, only to have to stop and wait every 20 minutes. But the problem will be that they have to stop and wait every 20 minutes because they will go way ahead of others, so others will have to catch up, so they will have to stop for that. This is frustrating and their enthusiasm wanes. So obviously it will be frustrating for them because they have to put on brakes, they have to stop every 20 minutes and then wait for others to catch up, and their enthusiasm will fade. Meanwhile, the slowest ones are not only embarrassed but physically struggling to keep up. Obviously, the slowest one, they will feel embarrassed because of them the others have to stop again and again, and not only that, but they will be physically struggling to keep up as they are not fit. They are the slowest. They are the most unfit of the group. They will be running out of breath. They will be panting the whole way. So. On top of the embarrassment, they will not be physically able to keep up with other people. What's worse, they never get a long enough break. Yeah, that's also the case. They will not get a long enough break because as soon as they will catch up with the fastest of the group, they will, after a minute or so, they will tell them to hurry up because they have already lost a lot of time waiting for them. They honestly just want to quit. Hiking, they feel, is not for them. What they feel is they want to quit, and they will feel hiking is not made for them because they are feeling embarrassed, they are struggling for breath, and they are not getting enough rest so that they can catch up with their breath. So because of that, they will feel embarrassed and everything else. Now, do we need to read question number 31? Is there any mention of Professor John Hattie? No, there is no mention of that, so we don't have to worry about that. And there is no mention of this particular word, Vygotsky. Okay, so I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing this name. So again, there is no mention of this particular word. So this paragraph also doesn't have any answer in it. Clear? So this is our first paragraph, second, third, fourth, and this is fifth. Okay, have I missed something? First, second, third. Yeah, this is our fourth paragraph. Now we are gonna look at the fifth paragraph. So this is our fifth paragraph location. So we will read the question and the option, then we will read the paragraph. What is the idea suggested by the reference to Mount Langma, sorry if I'm mispronouncing it again, in the fifth paragraph? So this mountain is give like the reference of this mountain is given to suggest something. What is this? We have to understand. Students following unsuitable paths. So is this particular thing is being referred, then unsuitable path, then A will be our answer. Students attempting interesting tasks. So if the students are attempting interesting tasks only, B will be our answer. Students not achieving their full potential. If students are not able to achieve their full potential, then C will be our answer. Students not being aware of their limitations. If students are not aware of their limitations, of their shortcomings, then D will be our answer. So let's see. Mixed ability classes bore students, frustrate parents, and burn out teachers. So this is the disadvantage. These are the disadvantages of mixed ability classes. The brightest ones will never summit Mount Komolangma. The stragglers won't enjoy the lovely stroll in the park they are perhaps more suited to. So the brightest one, they will never summit Mount Koalama. So that means they will never reach top of this particular mountain, and these people who are left behind, they won't be able to enjoy the lovely stroll they are more suited to, because they are not suited to hiking, they are suited to strolling, so they won't be able to enjoy those strolls. Individuals suffer at the demands of collective mediocrity prevails. So individuals, they all will suffer at the demands of collective, because we want them to work as a team. So they all will struggle and mediocrity will prevail. So is learning like hiking? So that's our question. Is learning like hiking or not? I hope the paragraph is clear. Now you have around 10 seconds for this. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And I'm gonna mark the correct answer first. And the answer to this question, question is A, B, C or D. Yes, C. Students not achieving their full potential. And where it is written here in the second sentence. Let me do this. The brightest ones, they will not be able to reach at the top, and others, they will not be able to do what they best suited for. Like they will not be able to take a lovely walk. So that's question 29. So nobody will be able to achieve their full potential. I hope it is clear. Let's see what the other options are not correct. Students following unsuitable paths, there is no mention about that. Students attempting interesting tasks, again there is no mention that interesting tasks are being attempted. And about the limitations, there is no mention that students do not know what their limitations are. They are trying to overachieve, something like that. Punch above their weight, there is no mention like that. So this cannot be our answer. So the best answer for question 29th is C. I hope it is clear. Now, do we need to read the other sets of questions? No, because there is no mention of Professor John Hattie and that Vygotsky name. There is no mention of that. So we don't have to worry about that. I hope it is clear. Now, the sixth paragraph, and we know 30th answer is in this particular paragraph. What does the word scaffolding in this sixth paragraph refer to? So we have to find this particular word and what it means in this paragraph. Let me do this. The factors which prevent a student from learning effectively. Does scaffolding means those factors, those reasons that prevent students from learning effectively? If that is the case, A will be our answer. B, the environment where most of a student's learning takes place. If scaffolding means that particular class or environment where students most of the learning takes place, then B will be our answer. C, sorry about that. The assistance given to a student in their initial stages. If we are helping students in the initial stages of their learning, C will be our answer. D, the setting of appropriate learning targets. If we are setting realistic targets for according to students' aptitude, ability, then D will be our answer. Let's see what does scaffolding mean. The current pedagogical paradigm is arguably that of constructivism, which emerged out of the work of psychologist Lev Vygotsky. Okay, here is the name of the person. In 1930s, Vygotsky emphasized the importance of targeting a student's specific zone of proximal development. So they're saying that in 1930s, this particular person, he emphasized that it's very important to target specific zone of proximal development. So like according to the ability of the student, you have to target that particular thing. This is the gap between what they can achieve only with support, teachers, textbooks, worked examples, parents and so on, and what they can achieve independently. So what does this ZPD mean? So this means what they can do on their own and what they can do with the help of others. The purpose of teaching is to provide and then gradually remove this scaffolding until they are autonomous. So here is scaffolding. So what is the purpose of teaching? The purpose of teaching is to provide this kind of support, like helping students to understand what they want to do, what they should do, how to do, something like that, and then removing that particular support. This is what scaffolding means, and until they become autonomous, like self-sufficient, self-reliant. If we accept this model, it follows that streaming students with similar ZPDs would be an efficient and effective solution. and that forcing everyone on the same hike regardless of aptitude would be madness. So if we accept this particular model, so this model like advocates that we should stream students with similar ZPDs, and forcing everyone irrespective of their aptitude regardless of their ability would be madness. Like, in simpler terms, this paragraph is advocating that we should put similar ability students in the same class. I hope it is clear. Now you have around 10 seconds. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is yes, C option, C paragraph, C option. The assistance given to a student in their initial stages of learning. So where it is written? Yes, here. Just one second, guys. So here it is written, the purpose of teaching is to provide and then gradually removing this scaffolding until they are autonomous. So let me remove this so that you do not get confused. So this particular thing, the gap between what they can achieve with this support and what they can achieve independently is scaffolding, and whatever purpose is to give them in the initial stages and then to slowly remove this particular support so that they can become self-reliant. I hope you understood. So this is question 30th. Let's see why other options are not our answer. And the factors is, there is no mention that these are the factors that are preventing students or stopping students from learning effectively. No factors are given. So again, there is no particular environment is or mentioned, or like classes mentioned that is the best for the students learning. And again, there is no mention of setting realistic targets. So there is just mention of dividing students according to their ability and giving supports to student initially. And what does scaffolding firstly means? It means what they can do with the help of teachers and what they can do independently. Like, and when in the beginning we should provide them support, and after some time we should make them self-reliant. Autonomous means self-reliant. I hope it is clear. Now we have read this particular word. Now, do we need to read these questions? No, because we haven't like read Professor John Hattie, but we have read this word, Vygotsky. Let's see. The Vygotsky model of education supports the concept of mixed ability class. So yeah, this is the like, let me change the color. So here they're saying in 1930, Vygotsky emphasized the importance of targeting a student-specific zone development proximity development. So here they are talking about what kind of classes are best for the student. So yeah, this is our location for this particular question. Let me just write the question number here. So you will have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this particular question number 36. Is it yes, no, or not given? And the time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is no. I hope you arrived at this particular answer. If not, don't worry. So here they're saying that Vygotsky, it supports sorry about that, it supports the concept of mixed ability class, like it's in the favor of mixed ability class. But no, this particular person is emphasizing the importance of specific zone of proximal development, and that is dividing students according to their ability, not mixed ability class. So one similar ability students should form one class and other students should form other classes. So there is no mention. So he this particular person is in favor of dividing classes according to ability, not in the favor of mixed ability class. So that's why the answer to this question is no. I hope it is clear. Let's move to 37th. Some teachers are uncertain about allowing students to take on MKO roles. So okay, wherever we will find MKO roles in the classroom, then we will read this particular question. Clear? Mm, okay, so we have done all these MCQs 27, 28, 29, 30. So now I believe we should be reading Professor John Hattie. Let's read it. Despite all this, let me do this. Despite all this, there is limited empirical evidence to suggest that streaming results in better outcomes for students. So, is streaming effective? So, here is streaming giving results to students. Professor John Hattie, so here Professor, Director of the Melbourne Education Research Institute. Yeah, Melbourne Research Institute. Here we have read. Now we will read the question. According to Professor John Hattie of the Melbourne Education Research Institute, there is very little indication that streaming leads to. Okay, so he's saying that there is very little indication, like little proof, that streaming leads to means results in. What it results in? Something. Before this, let's read all the options and see if you are able to understand all the options. Wrong classes, it's quite easy. Lower expectations means your expectations are not that high. Average learners, bottom sets, brightest pupils means students, disadvantaged backgrounds. So what does this word mean? Like this collocation means disadvantaged backgrounds. Yeah, disadvantaged backgrounds mostly will refer to students from poor families, like who have some kind of difficulty at their homes, or single parent households, students belonging to that, those kind of things. Okay, so meaning to say they have some kind of disadvantage. Weaker students, simple. Higher achievements, positive impression. So other words are quite straightforward. Many of you will have problem in this particular word, disadvantaged background. So I have told you the meaning of this. So leads to something, so it should be it leads to something. Let's see what it leads to. Okay, Professor John Hattie, director of Melbourne Education Institute, notes that tracking has minimal effects on learning outcomes. So this particular person says that tracking has minimal effects on outcome, meaning to say the effect on results is minimal. So minimal means minimum. What is more, streaming appears to be significantly and negatively affect those students assigned to the lowest sets. So this is something else. So our answer is in this particular sentence. So here they are saying that there is very little indication, and for very little indication they have told little empirical evidence. Clear? Streaming results in, streaming leads to. So the answer is in this particular sentence. So again, one more thing that I forgot to tell you, you will not find the exact words. Sometimes you may find the exact words, but most of the times you will not be able to find the exact words for this particular, in this particular type of question. So you have to find the synonyms. So the words, the sentence will mean same, will have the same meaning, but it will have different words. So you will have to sorry, you have to find the synonyms. Clear? But we have found the location. So this is our location, and the 10 seconds starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this particular question is which option? Out of A, from A to Y? Yes, the option is H. I hope you were able to identify this. Let me first mark it. So here they are saying that better outcomes for students. So better outcomes mean, yes, best results, good results. So it will lead to higher achievement. So we cannot say wrong classes, lower expectation. This is not better outcome. Again, for better outcome only one word is there, higher achievement. It leads to higher achievements. Be clear? Because outcome is the result, achievement is the result of something. let's read the 32nd question now. He points out that in schools which use streaming, the most significant impact is on those students placed in the blank, especially where a large proportion of them have blank. Okay, so let's understand the question. He's saying that he says that in schools, that those schools who that use streaming, the most significant impact, like the biggest impact is on those students that are placed in the, like that are put in the blank group, in something. Clear? Especially where a large proportion of them have something. Again, let's see what our answer should be here. So let's read from here. Professor John Hattie, Melbourne. So we have done that. What is more, streaming appears to significantly and negatively affect those students assigned to the lowest sets. So yeah, here they're saying that students, here they're talking about the students placed in assigned. Here's something talking about the assignment. Clear? More significant. Here it is written significantly. So streaming, here is streaming. So what is more, so he is like talking about that streaming appears to significantly and negatively. So the most significant impact is something about negative, and the location is in this particular sentence, and for that your time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is, let me write here, D option. I hope you were able to find this. Let me mark first. Bottom sets. How we arrived at this? Here they're set assigned to the lowest sets. So lowest meaning to say bottom. I hope it is clear. Let's read let's find the 33rd. Especially where a large proportion of them have, let's see what they have. These students tend to have much higher representation. So higher representation just means, yes, a large proportion of low socio-economic class. So they are talking about low socio-economic class. So again, we have found the answer. The answer is in this particular sentence. So you tell me which is the best word that represent this particular thing, low socioeconomic class, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to 33rd is, let me mark it here. Drum roll, please. Option F, disadvantaged backgrounds. So here we have found the answer. Sorry about that. Let me correct this also. Instead of this, we have to do this. That is question 33. Now, how we arrived at this? So I have already told you what does disadvantaged backgrounds mean. Yeah, financially poor, from poor families or single parent household, something like that. So low socioeconomic class, those people whose social level or economic level is not that high, like they are not rich, poor people. Clear? Let's read the 34th question now. Meanwhile, for the blank, there appears to be only minimal advantage. Now, meanwhile means now we're talking about the opposite. There are, like, for the blank, there appears to be minimal advantage. So obviously they are like meanwhile means opposite, so this is negative, so this is positive, but the positive is not that much. Let's see. Less significant is the small benefit. So small benefit means minimal advantage for those lucky clever students. Clear? So obviously this is our, in the higher sets, this is our sentence. Now you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up. And the answer to this is yes. I hope you have found the answer. And the answer is E option. Oh, let me do this again. Yeah, brightest pupils. Where it is written? Clever students. That's question 34. I hope you were able to identify this. So clever students. So you cannot say clever students, average learners. They are brightest pupils. They are not weaker students. They are not average learners. So brightest pupils. I hope it is clear. Let's read the 35th question now. A further issue is that teachers tend to have dash of students in streamed groups. Now we're talking about what teachers have. Further issue means one more issue we're talking about, that teachers they tend to have like what they have something of students, like they have opinion of students, they have, let's see, wrong classes of students, low expectations. Yeah. So if you have to pick a word out of this one, two, three, four, five remaining options, what kind of word do you think should be here? Yeah, I think two options. If you have picked out of those two, B and I, they are grammatically correct. To have wrong classes of students, no, they cannot tend to have wrong classes of students. Average learners of students, it will not make any sense, or weaker students. So lower expectations and positive impressions of students. But I cannot be our answer. Why? Because this, if you have a positive impression of someone, it cannot be an issue. So having negative impression of someone can be an issue, but positive, I don't think so. But it can be. We will not mark answer until we find the location. So let's see where the teachers are mentioned. In the latest update of Hattie's influential meta-analysis of factors influencing student achievement. So now, if you remember, we are not looking at the yes no not given. Why? Because what was our keyword? MKO rules in. So we haven't read anything about MKO rules, so we don't have to worry about that. In the latest update of Hattie's influential meta-analysis of factors influencing student achievement, one of the most significant factors is teachers' estimate of achievement. Yeah, there's something about teachers estimating of achievements. Let's see what they do. Streaming students by diagnosed achieve sorry about that. Streaming students by diagnosed achievement automatically limits what teachers feel the students is capable of. So now we're talking about what teachers feel of streaming students. So streaming students in streamed groups. Okay, so obviously this is our location. So you will have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this particular question, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this particular question is, just give me one sec, option B, as we already thought, lower expectation. But how we arrived at it, where it is written? So here limits, so here from here to here, so they are saying that, just one second guys, it automatically limits what the teacher feels student is capable of. So if the teacher doesn't feel the student is capable of much, so What kind of expectation will teachers have of the students? Will they have higher expectation or lower expectations? Yeah, they will have lower expectations. So if you think the student isn't capable of this particular kind of achievement, or the student isn't capable, for example, if you go to you say, let's say, take example of gym. If you go to gym and you think you're not capable of lifting a particular amount of weight, so you will have lower expectation of yourself. So you cannot say, yeah, although I cannot lift this, but I have higher. No, that's something else. Clear? So you have realistic expectation but lower expectation. You know you cannot lift that kind of weight. I hope it is clear. Now let's see, we have done 31, 32, 33, 34. Okay, all the blanks are done, all the MCQs are done, so we have to only focus on now yes, no, not given. Let's say MQ rules we haven't read, so 3 paragraphs are remaining. While streaming might seem to help teachers effectively target students' ZPD, it can underestimate the importance of peer-to-peer learning. Now we're talking about, though streaming, it can help it can help teachers to effectively target students' ZPD. So it can help teachers to understand what students are capable of, what are their learning ability or learning capacity, but it can underestimate the importance of peer-to-peer learning, like what we can learn from our peers. A crucial aspect of constructivist theory is the role of the MKO. So here is the about MKO. Let's read the question now. Some teachers are uncertain about allowing students to take on MKO roles in the classroom. So some teachers, they are not so sure about allowing students to take MKO roles in the classroom. If that is the case, our answer will be yes. But if the teachers are certain that yes, it is beneficial if students take on MKO roles or students adopt MKO roles in classroom, if teachers are certain about it, if teachers welcome this kind of thing, then the answer will be no. And if we don't know whether teachers are uncertain or not, uncertain or not, or certain, sorry about that, if teachers are certain or uncertain, if we don't know something like that, the answer will be not given. Let's see. Sorry about that, guys. And a crucial aspect of constructivist theory is the role of MKO, more knowledgeable other, in knowledge construction. So what does MKO mean? More knowledgeable other. So basically one student knows more than other students. While teachers are traditionally the MKOs in classrooms, the value of knowledgeable students peer must not go unrecognized. So they're talking about teachers, they are the MKOs in classrooms, but the value that of other students, that should not go unrecognized either. So other peers, knowledgeable peers, they should not go unrecognized. So now you have around 10 seconds. So that is our location. So you have around 10 seconds for this to tell me the answer. The time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer of this particular question is not given. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. Why it is not given? Because the question is saying that teachers are uncertain about allowing students to do something. Here they're saying that traditionally teachers are the MKO of this particular classroom. But we should not underestimate the value of students being like MKOs in the classroom. But whether teachers are sure about allowing them or teachers are unsure about allowing students, we don't know about that particular thing. So that's why the answer to this should be not given. I hope it is clear. Let's read the 38th question now. It can be rewarding to teach knowledge which you have only recently acquired. Now they're saying that it can be rewarding if you teach that knowledge to others that you have only recently acquired, like you learned something new, and it's quite rewarding if you teach that particular thing to others. So if that is the case, the answer should be yes. But if it's not rewarding, like it will confuse you, or you will not be able to teach it to others, so it's quite difficult for you to do that kind of thing that you recently learned, then the answer will be no. And if no such thing is given, whether you should teach others that you learned yourself like a few days ago or something like that, the answer will be not given. So let's see. I find it amazing to watch students get over an idea to their peers in ways that I would never think of. So now this particular person is saying, I mean to say, this one person is saying that the writer is saying that he finds it amazing when he watch students to get over an idea. Get over an idea mean to say to explain idea to their peers in such ways that I would never think of. So that's the real scenario as a teacher myself. The way as one friend can teach to other friend is entirely different, because the words they can use with each other, the vocabulary they can use with each other, as a teacher I cannot say or I cannot use those words with my students. But if I have to teach it to my friend, I can my vocabulary will be entirely different. I don't have to think twice before saying anything to that particular person. But if I'm teaching to a student, I have to think like twice before speaking. I cannot say words that may not be appropriate in that particular scenario. But friends, they can make you understand they can use analogies that a teacher cannot use. I hope you get what I'm saying. Okay, let's read further. Because we haven't read anything about newly learned things. They operate with different language tools and different social tools from teachers. So yeah, that was I was referring to, because they are using different language tools and social tools from teachers, and having just learned it themselves, they possess similar cognitive structures to their struggling classmates. So learned it themselves, just learned it themselves mean newly learned, so they possess similar cognitive structures. There is also something exciting about passing on skills and knowledge that you yourself just mastered. A certain pride and zeal, a certain freshness to the interaction between teacher and learner that is often lost by the expert, for whom the steps are obvious and the joy of discovery forgotten. So now they're talking about there is something exciting, okay, so there is something rewarding. So they are talking about here that you have learned or this, and this is the particular thing they are talking about. Okay, sorry about that. So this is our location to this particular question. Now you have around 10 seconds to tell me the answer to this, whether it should be true, false, or sorry, yes, no, or not given, and the time starts now. Okay, time's up, and the answer to this question is yes. I hope you arrived at the correct answer. So they said that in the question it can be rewarding to teach what you recently acquired. Yes, there is something exciting. What is exciting, and where it is written? So to pass on skills that you yourself have just mastered, just acquired, a certain pride, zeal, a certain freshness to the interaction. So a certain pride and zeal. So it is something rewarding. Clear? Let's read 39th question now. The priority should be to ensure that the highest achieving students attain their goals. So now we're talking that we should give priority to make sure that to make sure that highest achieving students, they should attain their goals, like they should not be deprived of their goals. If that is our priority, like we do not have priority of other students but only of higher attaining students, then the answer will be yes. But if it's not our priority is that everyone should attain their goals, not only the highest achieving students, then the answer will be no. And if there is no mention about your priority, what should be the priority of the teacher, then the answer will be not given. Let's see. Here there is no mention of the priority. So let's read the last paragraph. Having a variety of different abilities in a collaborative learning environment provides valuable resources for helping students meeting their learning needs. So now they're saying that if you have different abilities in a collaborative learning, you will get in an environment which will provide valuable resources to help students meet their learning needs, not to mention improving their communication and social skills, and it will also improve their communication skills and their social skills as well. And today, more than ever, we need the many to flourish, not suffer at the expense of a few bright stars. And what we need today is we are saying that today more than ever we need that many to flourish. Like we should flourish together, and and some should not suffer, and most should not suffer at the expense of few bright stars. Clear? So this is our, like you can say, goal. So obviously this is our location, and to tell me the answer to this particular question you have around 10 seconds, and the time starts now. And time's up, and the answer to this is no. I hope it is clear. You arrived at the correct answer. Why it is no? Because here the priority is highest achieving students. Here they are saying we need many to flourish, not to suffer at the expense of few bright stars. So we do not want other people to suffer. Like for example, in a classroom there are 10 students, and let's just say two are the brightest and other eight are mm, not too bright. I don't want to use any other term. They are not as bright as the other two students, those two students. So we do not want those eight students to suffer because those two students, they learn at a quicker pace. They learn, they do not need something to be explained again and again. So teachers should not just keep them in mind. Okay, let me charge switch on the power bank. So the teacher should not give them priority. Okay, so that is the case. We need all those eight or majority of those eight to flourish along with those two brightest students. So that's why not only highest achieving is not only a priority, we are looking for many, not few. Clear? Let's read the 40th question now. Taking part in collaborative outdoor activities with teachers and classmates can improve student outcomes in the classroom. So if we are taking part in any collaborative outdoor activities, so we're talking about collaborative outdoor activities with teachers and classmates, it can improve students outcomes in classroom. So because of playing games together or something like that, if the scores can improve in the classroom, the answer will be yes. But even after playing games together or doing things outside the classroom together, the numbers didn't improve, the answer will be no. And if we don't know whether the numbers improved or will not improve if you go outside together or something like that, the answer will be not given. Let's see. Once a year I go on a hike with my class. So hiking with class, I meaning to say teacher, and hiking is your outdoor activity. Mixed bunch of students, it is challenging. The fittest students realize they need to encourage the reluctant. There are lookouts sorry, there are lookouts who report back and extra items to carry for others. We make it together. So the teacher here is saying that this particular person goes out on hiking with his class, and what they do is, they, although it's challenging, what the fittest person students do, they realize they need to encourage those who are reluctant, like not the fittest, and some they report back, and some carry extra luggage for others, and they do it together. Clear? So this is, you can say, our location, and time starts now. Okay, time's up and the answer is not given. I hope everybody was able to find this answer, to identify this answer, why it is not given. Yeah, we are taking part in collaborative activity. Let me mark this again. Yeah, they are taking part in collaborative activity, that is hiking. So their teachers and classmates, but whether this activity is improving their scores or not in the classroom, we don't know about that. So that's why the answer is not given. I hope it is clear. Now let's see, we have done all the questions. One, yes, yes, we have done this. 31, 32, 30, 34. So I hope you were able to understand how to solve this kind of paragraph, these kind of questions. So if there is any doubt, if you don't understand any particular question, or if there is any doubt for any particular question, you can rewatch that part of the video again, or you can rewatch the entire video again, so that you can enhance your understanding. As I have told many times, even in this paragraph it is written, every student learns at a different pace. So if you need to watch this video 2 or 3 times or even more to understand how to solve questions, how to understand paragraphs, do not be embarrassed about that. Every student every student has different learning speed. So if your learning speed is slow, don't worry. Once your brain picks up how it is supposed to be done, how reading is supposed to be solved, it will automatically increase its speed. But in the beginning, you have to understand how to solve it. Again, one more thing I want to I want to add in this particular video: if you are struggling in your writing and or speaking, or even reading and or listening, even after multiple attempts you are not able to achieve your dream band score, maybe 7 or more in your writing and or speaking, or in reading, or 8 in listening, so we have made a dedicated video course for it. You can enroll in that video course. I will leave the link in my bio. We have helped numerous of students to achieve a band 7 or more in their writing and or speaking, those who were struggling. So because we have thoroughly discussed in that particular video course what teachers are looking for, how to give it to them, you will be able to understand. If you are like not getting more than 6 or 6.5, even after multiple attempts, this course will help you to understand where you are lacking, and what you need to do to improve that particular thing, your weak, how to overcome your weakness, overcome your shortcomings, so that you can achieve a dream score and complete your dream. If you want to enroll, you can go to my bio. The link is in my bio. You can enroll in from that particular link. So that's it for this video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care and goodbye.